Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the video. Today, we're going to be making this design right here, part 4 of 7. This video is not going to show you only how I built this design, but how I built this computer board and this chopping board. Check out video 1, video 2, and video 3. The video is going to consist of 6 main steps. First one's going to be making simple strips out of the 4 different types of woods. Then the second part's going to be randomizing those woods with some straight cuts. Then the third part's going to be randomizing those cuts again on a 30 degrees angle. And once I've got the design already and the end grain ready, I'm going to cut through the design. The 5th step is going to be making the computer board, and the 6th step is finishing the design. So, let's roll the intro. Making simple strips out of 4 woods. So with the pine wood, I cut it outside with the circular saw. Broke it off, placed down the pine, redwood, marabou, and the Tasmanian oak. Then it was time to cut the widths and heights of all the strips. I kept the height the same height for all the strips, and the widths I randomized. So example, with the pine, I cut everything to a 40mm, keeping the same height, and then after that, I would randomize the widths, the effect of the kaleidoscope design. The pine was so big and heavy that the table saw wasn't high enough to cut the pine in one piece, so I had to cut it, and flip it and cut it again in 2 cuts. So with the pine, I'm cutting everything to 40mm, and then once I get everything to 40mm, that's when I start randomizing the widths of the cuts. And then I finish it up all with the redwood, the most annoying to cut and the heaviest wood. I did it exactly the same process as the other 3 woods. So here you can see the nice spread of the different 4 woods I had. I started randomizing the strips so I could glue them all together. Randomizing the design with some straight cuts. So now you can see I got a beautiful design with all randomized strips, but now it was time to cut those strips into 8 mini separate random strips. Then you see me here just squaring off the edges. And since gluing them up wasn't perfect, I had to cut each side to make sure they were exactly 90 and perfectly flat, ready for the next glue up. This is what the end grain of the designs are looking like, looking very nice, and I'm about to cut them all in half. So flipping and cutting these strips in half is going to allow me to once again randomize the design even further to create a cooler kaleidoscope piece. And like I said before, I'm just reorganizing and gluing all the pieces up to get that crazy kaleidoscope end grain design. So I took it to the sander to get all the glue spots off, and then I was going to run it through the planer to make the board perfectly flat. Further randomizing the design with 30 degrees cuts. Okay, this is the last time I'm going to reorganize and cut everything together, but I had to make some 30-degree cuts because it's not a kaleidoscope without some angled cuts. So I cut 30 degrees on one side of the board and 30 degrees on the other side of the board and left it about 60 to 70mm in the middle. The end grain looking nice with the angled cuts. Just going to add one more step, which is to add some more pine and marabou wood. To do this, I did the exact same thing I did in the first step, which is to get some plain strips of one color wood. Although since everything was at a 30 degrees angle, I had to also put these strips into a 30 degrees angle. And that is the end grain design and what the whole design is going to look like at the end. So of course I had to glue everything up together, reorganized it and glued it up all together. This process is actually sped up 30 times normal speed, plus I cut bits out because this took about 30 to 40 minutes just to glue it all up together. And this part here is sped up to times 70. So finally got the whole Kaleidoscope board ready to go. First I just had to make the board flat by sanding it and planing it, and the exciting part was about to start. Step 4, cutting through the design. This cut here is what I've been waiting for. The moment of truth, let's go. So the moment of truth, to see what the end grain design would look like. And it looks nice. So earlier I cut the whole board in kind of like into a big board and a small board because it was too big to put on my table saw. And then after that was done, I cut each the big board and the little board into 30mm strips, cutting through the end grain design. This design right here, look how sick it looks. Making the computer board. So I didn't actually need that much design for the massive coffee table I'm making. So I decided to make a coffee board and a chopping board, and this is just me gluing up the computer board. So I'm just cutting the edges, making sure everything's perfectly 90 and square. And I sanded it, built the legs, screwed everything together, varnished the whole thing, and took some video that you'll see at the end of the video. Making the design for the table. So back to the coffee table, I had to glue these 10 mini pieces together. So I cut everything at 90 degrees and then I glued it up together, and then once again cut everything 90 degrees again after I planed it. And then it was done. Time to finally varnish the whole thing and take some videos for this video. And this is what it looks like out in the sun. Unfortunately, I only took a portrait video, so you can't see the whole board all at once, but you can see the immaculate attention to detail that was produced from all these randomized cuts that I made. And then I think a thing that came out the coolest was this chopping board, where I used 3 separate designs to make this chopping board, and it looks insane. Just look at the detail on that board. And then the third thing I made out with the design is the computer board, which used up actually most of the design, and I'm really proud of this one. Those zigzags are the extra strips I added at the end, and they really look cool. End of the video, I've got part 1, 2, 3, and 4 done. The next one is going to be part 5, and that's going to be how I actually built the whole coffee table. I'll leave a link here or something. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll leave you with some outro for you.